All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for these two Google searches, one local and one city level. If either or both of them have BSS. Then we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that pinned video, pinned post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph in white down here. Highest intent people on the left is people using social search, Google search, searching for a boudoir photographer in their or boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And as a result, they're we talk about them, BSS videos here. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. Talk about dealing with these or reaching these peeps on our sister channel, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, boudoir search sameness is BSS. It means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 on Google. 0 slots, page 1, we cannot have that. We're dying a fast death here because that means we're on page 2 or deeper. The reason that matters is we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. That's right, they're one and done only. They're page 1 and done only searches. So for our page 2 or deeper, we're visible to approximately 80% of the market, so the bulk of the market. 1 slot on page 1 is also not good enough. Everyone on page 1's got 1 slot. So, it's us and most likely 9 other boudoir photographers. We're looking the same, we're not standing out. So what a boudoir photographer is doing is they're actually clicking, everyone's link, open up everyone's website, every contact form, every whatever submission form, getting a quote, comparing prices, waiting, negotiating. Why should they buy now? Trying to get the most for the least. It's wasting everyone's time. And most of these contact forms fill out don't even convert anyway. So just waste, waste, waste. So business dies slowly in this case, only having 1 slot, page 1 Google search. And 0, 1 slots, page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. That's common. It's accepted to have 0, 1 slots, page 1 Google search, but it's not normal. Now, these 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, yeah, basically everyone knows about this one. More peeps joining. Basically, peeps kind of naturally upgrade their gear over time. New iPhone, new camera. And as they get new gear, they're actually throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir, throwing up their website saying they're a boudoir photographer. They are, increasing basically the amount of times they post in the mom groups on Facebook saying they offer boudoir photo shoots. So all this is more sellers, more boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder for every other boudoir photographer in the market. This market saturation. Then we got false belief, page 1 equality. Yeah, very few peeps know about this one. This is kind of like boudoir photographers naturally assumed that, they basically naturally assumed that each boudoir photographer gets, kind of just gets 0, 1 slots, page 1 on Google, and that's how it is. Maybe they had their page 1 slot 7. That's how market saturation happened. Now they're, page 2 slot 2. I'm like, oh well, that's simply what it is. Hopefully those people delete their websites so Google can bring us back up onto page 1. But no, this is the 100% incorrect mindset to have. This kind of a wait and see mindset. 100% wrong. What's actually true is Google will give us as many page 1 slots on Google search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords as we want, or as we put in the effort to acquire. AKA we actually show Google we want. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search in only 10 days. This new methodology we developed. So I know for a fact the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. And remember BSS, 0, 1 slots, page 1 Google search for page 2 or deeper. I mean, we're dying a fast death. We're disappearing there for page 1, 1 slot. We're dying a slow death. Both cases, we're disappearing boudoir photographer. And what actually happens is this kind of warning light, the warning flag, the check engine light, the canary in the coal mine that's telling us, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is now on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've actually discovered that BSS, boudoir search sameness, 0, 1 slots, page 1 Google search, is treated with social search saturation, aka SQ's methodology. And it works exactly like it says, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there. And when we do this, it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down there in South America, the eastern side, the backside of those mountains, where what happens is that snow melts, water drains into small streams, small rivers, and eventually it all flows, gets collected in the large Amazon River. Now, that is large Amazon River is page 1 Google search. That's exactly what it is. And we actually, so it all starts with the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains, because that all starts with the inputs. That's key methodology. We gotta get the snow up there first for it to then melt and actually, flow into the large Amazon River. Now, SQ methodology, it's the only solution I've seen that actually allows boudoir photographers to have a chance to still grow their business in the presence of massive market saturation. And in a relatively quick, give them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. And the largest, kind of the only other solution I've seen that gives that same benefit, but not in a relatively quick time frame, is actually having a large, well-known brand. But again, dude, that takes like 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years, dude. AI's here, taking people's jobs. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a brand. What's interesting is SQ methodology, with my estimates, actually enables with the photographer to build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than standard methods, because we're seeing across so many different surfaces with much higher volume, much higher frequency, reaching much more of the highest intent people. And as a result, my estimate is, building that brand 8x faster to make market saturation matter even less. All right, so now an example. We are now going to, this will be a good one. We're now going to Bend, Oregon. And there's 1 million boudoir photographers there. And we are one of them. Everyone's got their websites and they offer boudoir photography. So it means page 1 Google search, ultra competitive with 1 million websites trying to rank there. And so we're like, all right, we ain't got no brand. We ain't got no time to create a brand. And so the only chance of us competing here is we actually got to be the first ones in our city to utilize S-Cube methodology. And as a result, let's say we crank it up to the max, like kind of way above anything the average boudoir photographer would do with S-Cube methodology. And let's say we're taking up the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And let's say that flows then onto Google. We're taking up the first 300 slots on Google for this highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And it's 10 organic slots per page Google search. So dude, we're taking up like the first 30 pages. So guess what? If a boudoir buyer is searching for a, basically if a boudoir buyer is searching for a, boudoir photo shoot in their city, and as a result, they're looking on different, social media searches and Google searches, we're basically the only one they can find. We're taking basically the first 300 slots everywhere. So they can't really find any competing boudoir photographers. So they basically hit slot 301. That's page 31 on Google. I already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So dude, who the heck's hitting page 31? Basically no one. So if we're essentially the only person they can find, the only boudoir photographer they can find, whose business is still growing in this market? Most likely ours. Whose business is dying, vanishing, going away, becoming invisible in this market? Most likely the other 999,999 other boudoir photographers. And so this is an example of what S-Cube methodology could enable for a boudoir photography business in an ultra saturated market. Now, once you're with S-Cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility, P1V. Initial benefits, we're getting more slots to page 1 Google search, but interestingly, every new slot we get page 1 Google search, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Basically get to choose how many of our competitors go to page 2 and deeper, which means they're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually really like this initial benefit. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. And this is where the GBC universe recommends having, hitting the 3 out of 10 minimum for page one Google search. So hitting a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots. Because when we have that, basically every other boudoir photographer on page one will have 1 slot, but we'll have 3, so we'll be dominating them. In the ultra rare case, someone else has 2 slots. Well, again, we got 3 slots, so we're still ultra dominating. We're still dominating them. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got a disappearing boudoir. This is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, which is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we have discovered a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, now it's my results here. I'm going to dominate Google page one for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So what I did was started using S-cubed methodology, and let's see the results. So slot 1, organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So literally going from 0 out of 10 slots, page one Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page one Google search, in only 10 days, exclusively using S-cubed methodology. All right, so now we're going to look at the main event here. Going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search, Ville del Mar, California, and its city search, Temecula, California. All right, let's check this out. All right, so first searching Ville del Mar. So here we go. All right, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. Boom, we got 4. Boom, we got 5. All right, we got 6. 7. Sponsor, that doesn't count. That doesn't count for our 10. So awesome. 7 out of 10. This is what we got. This is what we need. How many competitors did they kick off? Up to 6. They ain't being price shopped against no one, or very, very few. They ain't being price shopped against 9, because we already know approximately 80% of Google searches ain't never going to page 2. So 7 out of 10, fantastic. Now we'll look at our city. Closest one there's some Lake Elsinore or something, but I chose Temecula to do the city search, bigger city. So let's see. Let's see how we're ranking here, pulling in people from Temecula. All right. All right, we got 0 in Temecula. So it looks like we're actually we're missing pulling people in from Temecula. So we do got BSS. So we don't have BSS for the local search. That's good. And we also hit the GBC minimum 3 out of 10 for local search. Perfect. But we definitely do have BSS for the city search. We're at 0 out of 10 slots there. And we definitely did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for the city search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done the local search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords and the highest intent, and you've done the city search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords, and you have BSS for one or both of them, and or you have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one Google slots for one or both of them, and you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear. Okay, more boudoir photographers always over time. It's always increasing. And you want to kick out those current competitors. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only path to successfully do that. But you're also thinking ahead of, man, AI is taking more and more people's jobs, it seems, every day. So if AI is taking more and more people's jobs every day, then there's probably going to be more and more. It's going to be like the third prong of things that's pushing more boudoir photographers. And it's not just new iPhone or new camera. It's now losing jobs due to AI. So you see, okay, more and more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. We actually want to increase the kind of pre-fortify our position before this monster tsunami, or kind of this increasing wave of new boudoir photographers enters the market, competing with us for page one. Want to pre-fortify our positions in expectation. That kind of like the levees in New Orleans. I think it's like the built up sandbag things to keep the ocean at bay because the city is below sea level. And we actually want to decide you want to pre-fortify your position to also pre-fortify your position on Google page one to all the new boudoir photographers that will eventually be coming in because more and more people lose their job to AI. And you're also seeing, hey, S-cubed methodology is the only path for that. You've accepted that page one equality is a false belief, and Google will actually give us as many slots on page one as we want to put in the effort to take. So you've accepted the false belief of page one inequality is false. So you want to use S-cubed methodology, you see as the only solution, and you want the page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need this on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want the two hidden back-end benefits of successfully executing S-cubed methodology every single day, which is kind of the more we execute it, the keywords that we use that we're starting to rank for, show up social search for, saturate that, show up Google page one for. It's basically building thematic keyword columns attached to our entire internet brand, our social accounts, our website, out there in the minds of AI. So every single day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology, we actually increase the probability that AI overview here recommends us, and Google still is about 90% of search, slowly decreasing every day though. So higher chance we get the the premium placement slot here, AI overview, because it's pulling from, our frequency, our density, our authority, our age of these different thematic keyword columns that S-cube allows us to tackle. So increase in probability of being shown up here and increase in probability of being showing up for all the AI search apps, ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, and we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. So kind of all this hidden back-end AI brain momentum every single day. It's kind of building up momentum every single day we execute S-cubed methodology. And you're seeing, since my plans only work with one boudoir photographer per city, that you decide you want to hop on this first, be a first mover, because every single day we execute S-cubed methodology correctly. We're getting the initial benefits, the quick future benefits, and the longer term momentum AI brain recommendation benefits, building up the momentum, and you're putting massive gap between you and all the current competitors, and definitely all the ones that have not entered yet, but we know they will because AI will be taking a bunch of people's jobs. And so you want all that, and you also see if some other boudoir photographer in your same city were to work with me instead, that you would actually have to figure out S-cubed methodology on your own, and you would never actually know if you've rederived it correctly. And then you'd have to go equal our execution every single day, execute an S-cubed methodology, which you'd have to equal our effort and you'd have to be confident in it, which you would not have 100% confidence because you would not know if you've even derived S-cubed methodology correctly in the first place. And to do all that effort, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you. To actually close the gap, you'd have to double or triple outwork us every single day to close that gap. Basically kind of steal back that thematic keyword column momentum attached to your competitor's brand in the AI brain, the AI search brain for all these AI apps, and pull it back to your brand. And so you've decided, okay, screw that. I'd rather just be the first mover and not be dealing with the laggard position of not being the #1 boudoir photographer in my city, because I know a ton of boudoir photographers going to be entering because of AI taking Peep's job. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. When I open my DMs for new patient intake, the hospital is currently closed. We're not currently taking in any new patients. But when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.